And this next slide here is going to be helpful for, to Gil's point, more advanced capital raisers who are looking to raise institutional capital or looking to raise capital at $500,000 or more at a time, perhaps over time, and tap into multifamily offices versus single family offices, perhaps only. And the reason is that a multifamily office is different than a single family office because they are representing maybe 20, 50, or 100 clients. And if you win over a multifamily office, which usually takes a checklist process and more thorough institutional level of due diligence, usually just like a wealth management firm would have to put you through, then they might be able to allocate 10 investors or 30 investors into your deal. So you win over one chief investment officer, one CEO, one investment committee, and you might be able to raise $10 million to $50 million at a time. We have a family office club member I've known for 11 years. I've met them in person probably 30 times at our different events. And they are raising about $80 million a year right now. And we've known them since they were at zero, and they manage about 350 million, and they're raising capital, 20 million, $30 million at a time by winning over RIAs, registered investment advisors. But the type of registered investment advisor is typically a high-end wealth advisor or a multifamily office. So even if you don't think you're going to be raising capital from insurance companies and pension funds and sovereign wealth funds that could write $50 million checks, if you have raised a few $1 million checks and you do want to go out and raise capital from wealth managers and multifamily offices, then having a master due diligence questionnaire can be something useful to have in place. In the welcome email materials, I believe it provided a due diligence questionnaire template that you would need to customize to your industry and your field, and customize to what your investors would be asking you. But the point of having a master due diligence questionnaire is that when you go out to investors who might allocate $3, $5, $10 million or more, they typically will have a due diligence questionnaire sent to you, where a private investor, it'll be ad hoc, it'll be questions over a phone, over email, et cetera. Well, if you're doing due diligence on hundreds of things per year, it's not efficient to do it over a phone call and over emails, et cetera. And so the efficiency of the process here is that the wealth manager says, oh, you want to get an allocation from us? Okay, well, here's our 40 questions. Answer all these 40 questions, and then come back to us. Well, the thing is, you go to wealth manager number 2, and they have only 28 questions, but 10 of them are different. Then you go to a multifamily office, and they have 70 questions, and 9 of them are different. Then you go to a private investor, and after asking you 20 questions, they say, what else should I be asking? So the point of having a master due diligence questionnaire is you take the most thorough one you've ever done, or use our template, answer the questions with accuracy and being transparent and citing sources or pointing out what was learned and sharing bios or examples or transparent views of a screenshot on a computer or a compliance approved track record from a previous employer, et cetera. And then if you ever come across new due diligence questions and you think to yourself, wow, that was a new question, but we wrote a great answer and this is something we should be transparent on with everyone going forward, which is almost always the case, you should just be more disclosing things rather than less, then your master due diligence questionnaire gets more and more robust over time. And do you really need to have one of these? Do you have to have one of these? Well, no, but because most people raising capital from single family offices and private investors do not have one of these, you'll have a marked advantage at no cost to you except for your own time by putting one together. Again, this is not a product we're selling you. We're giving you the template to go do this. And so when you go to a private investor, you can say, oh, well, it's not just 1 or 2 more questions you maybe should have asked, because it sounds rude to say, oh, you should have asked these 30 additional questions. But you could say, if you'd like, we could share with you a due diligence report we paid for from this third-party firm, and you can call them through their website to confirm that really is done by them. But we also have our master due diligence questionnaire. They would have taken the time to answer in detail 40 different questions that our investors typically have, because you're not the first investor we've spoken to. We've made 40 investors happy so far coming in to our company or our investment offering. And it would probably be most helpful for you to, now that we've had this phone call, to print this out or I'm going to print it out and better yet, put it in the mail for you. Most people won't go through that effort, but they'd much rather look at something printed out than have email number 119 to review that's 50 pages long. They're never going to look at that in my experience. But if you print it out with a little cover letter and you have the due diligence report in there with the master DDQ, then they will see that your firm has taken a serious job of having them get to know you, not just through a pitch deck and a one-page teaser, but through the due diligence report and the master due diligence questionnaire. And it's going to be easier for them to get comfortable with who you are and your transparent nature than someone else they might allocate capital to. And they're going to go to that other person and say, and if they ask, what is this? You should say, oh, well, this helps you get answers to questions you have and questions you are going to have later and questions you might not have thought of, but have been asked many times before. And really, this is something that you should be asking for from any investment that you're looking at. We would recommend or suggest that that's the case. And now what you've done is tilted the scales towards you a bit, because they're going to go to the other two investments that they have been considering and ask them, do you have a due diligence questionnaire or a master due diligence questionnaire? And they're going to say no. Do you have a third-party due diligence report? And they're going to say no. I literally don't even know of one firm that manages or has raised less than $200 million that has both of those things in place. And it would cost you less than $5,000 to have both of these things in place. So I would definitely recommend that this be one of the action items that you have moving forward. And it would give you a marked advantage to have this plus 2 or 3 other ideas we talk about here during the workshop, and have that as part of your tool set basically when you're raising capital. We have several comments in the chat.